Good afternoon, YouTube. Well, we're at it again today, and today we are going to do easy grilled ribs. Now, I know I usually smoke ribs, take 5-6 hours, slow cook them, let them smoke and all that stuff, mopping them and all that kind of stuff. Tonight I'm going to show you how to cook ribs that are fall off the bone, the color where you want it, the flavor where you want it, but easy. Anybody can do it on a backyard pit. It's super simple, and I hope y'all really enjoy it. I'm gonna have some wings that are gonna go alongside it, but the main focus is gonna be on we're cooking actually spare ribs, not baby backs, which if you know anything about competitions, that's what your competition ribs are, is spare ribs. These are already cut into the St. Louis style, which means they have there's like I can't think of what it's called, but there's a piece that's cut off that makes them basically an even rack. St. Louis style ribs are a bit bigger, longer. They have a little more meat on them and a little more fat, and are a little more difficult to cook than baby backs. Baby backs are very uniform, and these are not, as you'll see as we get to it. So let's get to seasoning and get these things prepped. Well, here we are with our spare ribs. I've got 2 racks. This one's face up, and this one's bone side up. These are St. Louis style spare ribs. They already have the extra piece cut off, so it makes it an even width cut of ribs here. When you are cooking ribs, regardless of baby backs or spare ribs, on the bottom side, as you can see here, there's this silver skin, whatever membrane this is here, that is a pain in the butt to get off. But you really want to do everything you can to get it off, because that will aid as you're cooking. It will help it be that much more tender. You don't have to bite through this, regardless of how long you smoke it. This piece usually remains a little bit tough. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this piece off here, so you can see got a little bit of a head start, because it is just that difficult to pull off. If I can get a big enough piece, it will you can kind of manhandle it and get it off, but I'm not quite there yet. Maybe I'm there, we'll see. There you go, you can see it kind of pulls off there like that. Got that off right there. There's fat and meat on the bottom end, which if you've ever cooked baby backs before, they do not have that. It's just this one piece of membrane on the bottom, and that's really all that's on the bottom of a baby back rib. They're very uniform, and so if I can get this off. Like I said, that's part of the reason why you want to get this off, just because it's very tough. And I'm probably not going to be able to get all of this off, but I think we got enough to make it work. So we'll move this over and do the same thing to this one. It's got, depending on what butcher you get it from or store you get it from, they're going to have excess fat if you want to pull it off yourself. What's worked well for me is I have this fillet knife here, and I'm using it putting it right on the bone and sliding it down toward the bone, and using it to basically pry underneath that membrane to give me hopefully enough to pull it all off in one piece. We shall see. Dang it. And I got it a little out of hand here. And we'll speed through this process right here as I finish getting the skin off, and then revisit as I'm seasoning the meat. So we got our skin taken off. If y'all have any suggestions on how to pull that off any easier than I did, as you could tell, it was giving me a hard time throughout. If y'all have any suggestions or thoughts on how to get that off any better, I would welcome that. I almost went outside and grabbed a pair of pliers just to get a better grip to pull it. But managed to get, for the most part, it's not 100%, but we got it off. Now for the seasoning, I'm going to use just a regular dry rub. It's got some paprika, salt, pepper, garlic. Comino is in this rub that I have here, and it I don't know what it is. For some reason, when it comes to pork, especially the ribs, with that Comino in there, it just gives it that extra little flavor. I'm going to sauce these as we get closer to being done. But the base flavor that you're putting in with this rub is going to go a long way. It will really enhance the pork flavor and really give you that taste. It doesn't hide the meat flavor, which, as I'm sure y'all can tell by the videos that I've already put out, when I'm cooking, I really like the meat to shine. I want there to be some flavor because, yes, obviously you want a little bit of flavor to go along with the meat to kind of complement it. But when I'm cooking, I really want the meat to shine. I don't want to drown it in a sauce. I don't want all the additives to be what you eat. I want you to take a bite of a pork rib and know that, guess what, I am eating a pork rib, but there's a good flavor to go along with that pork meat. So we've got these seasoned up here. We're gonna let them sit for probably at least 2 hours before we put them on the pit. I like to, if you can do it overnight, that's even better. If you have a vacuum sealer, season them up the way I did and vacuum seal them. Throw them the next for the overnight for the next day. That will really enhance that flavor. Get those seasonings down into the meat. So we're gonna let these sit for a little bit while the pit gets ready. And like I said, these are gonna be easy grilled ribs. Anybody can do on a backyard pit. Spare ribs, baby backs. I'm doing spare ribs here, but baby backs as well. You can cook them the same way. Beef ribs, they're a little different. We'll do beef ribs differently, and I'll show you that in another video. But for these spare ribs, trust me, it's not gonna take all day like a smoker. You'll be able to grill them and have them all in a relatively short amount of time. So we'll get these seasoned, let them sit, and put them on the pit here in just a little bit. Hey folks, so we're ready to throw our ribs on. Got the fire built. I'm right at 350 on the temperature. Like I said, these are easy grilled ribs. No need to smoke them, no need to cook them for 6 or 7 hours. I'm gonna open them up, get this ready here. What we're gonna do is initially we're throwing them bone side down. Right here, nice little sizzle. We're gonna put them on bone side down, and we're just gonna let them sit like that for about 10 to 12 minutes, and then we're gonna flip them. Let them sit on the meat side for about 10 to 12 minutes. Hopefully we're gonna maintain the temperature right around 350, so we got a high temp right now. That's gonna sear it off, get us the color that we want on the outside, get us that real nice little bit of bark on there, and probably flip them 2 or 3 times just to make sure we get the color that we like. Once we do, we'll pull them off, we'll wrap them, put some sort of liquid with them, whether it's a beer or apple juice, whichever you prefer. In this case, I'm probably going to use a little beer, and we'll wrap them up, throw them back on there, just let them sit in a foil pack for about an hour or so. So once we get ready, like I said, I'm going to flip them a few times. Once they get ready to wrap, we'll come back and I'll show you what they look like after we flip them a few times and give you an update. We'll wrap them and throw them back on the pit. So see you here in a bit. Hey everybody, so it's been about an hour now that we've been flipping back and forth, and as you can see, we got the nice color there on the bone side. Flip this over so you can see, look at that, the beautiful color here on the ribs. Starting to pull away from the bone, which tells you they're getting ready. They're obviously not completely done yet, but we're gonna pull them off now. That color, man, isn't that gorgeous? Pull all this off right quick. We're gonna throw these in the pan and take them inside, and we're gonna wrap them so we can finish them off. All right, so we got them off the pit and we are getting ready to wrap. As you can tell, I double wrapped it. I got 2 sheets of foil here, heavy duty aluminum foil. And we're gonna pull these hot babies off right here. Give yourself extra room on the foil. Trust me, it's always better to have more than less because you don't want to have to cut another piece and go. So we're gonna fold these up here on the sides. Pick this up on the ends here. A little bit of this here. And I have, to add some liquid so it can help steam, I've got the beer that I'm drinking, which take your pick. You can use beef broth, chicken broth, whatever you want. Just get a decent amount in there, put it right up on top, let it just get in there, make sure there's a nice amount of liquid there in the bottom of it. Because what we're trying to do is we are wanting to get that liquid to steam, and it's going to help finish everything off. So we're going to take the ends here, fold them over, put this in, fold it back over, and go up like this, and we're going to roll this over to where it makes like a pouch. All right, I put it bone side down. That way when you put it on the pit, you got the top here, you know it's bone side down, you put it on the pit, bone side down, it's gonna finish that way. You've got the color that you want. So now you're just finishing cooking all the way on the inside. It's gonna steam inside that pouch, help those membranes just release a little bit more and make them super, super tender. Again, it's on just regular grill pit, super easy. Y'all, anybody can do it on any pit that you have. I can almost guarantee you that it'll come this way. So I'm gonna wrap this other one, throw them on the pit just like that, bone side down. It's gonna sit there for probably at least another hour or so. Let them steam, finish up. Once they get done, I'll pull them off, unwrap them. You'll get to see them the way they sit. So we'll see them in a little bit. Hey everybody. So we are pulling the ribs off, and they have been on the pit wrapped for about an hour, give or take 15 minutes or so. And we're gonna lay them here. As you can see, they're still wrapped the way we had them. And I do want to say before we move forward that all of this is very possible because of my wife, Ashley. She took care of me, and she's the one that helped me do this. So I want her to be recognized as a huge part of what we're doing here. Ashley's been the one that she loves how I cook. Of course, being a wife, she's biased, but still. We've cooked for years, and she decided to tell me, hey, what about YouTube? Why not put a video up? You enjoy cooking. So I do want to give her the credit that she deserves, because she did convince me to start doing all of these videos. So if y'all would, in the comments and everything else, give Ashley a little thumbs up. Let her know that she is the one that helped get this all started. So here we are. We're gonna unwrap these ribs, and I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up or not, but as you unwrap them, there's gonna be a lot of steam coming out. I can see it from here, but oh wow, they smell amazing. So you can see here on these ribs, they pulled away from the bone a little bit. They are awesome. So I'm gonna reach in here, look at that, look at how tender they are. So I'm gonna take these big long set of tongs that I have, grab the whole rack of ribs, slide that off, and put these ribs down here. Look at that. See, I got the color there. See a little bit of char. You can see where the ribs are. They just kind of drew down. They've rested for a little bit. It smells amazing. It really does. So of course you start on the end here, and it's just like butter. is cutting through that. Look at that. Look at the bone just come straight out. Again, competition ribs, they do not want the bones to just come out like that. But we're gonna go ahead and cut these apart like that. Look at that. Wow. These are beyond tender. So you can do, well, I'll tell you what, let me flip this over where you can see the bone a little bit better. I know it goes this way, so you can cut straight through and make your cuts. So we'll cut this one down. So I want y'all to see as we're cutting this. Look at that. Look at how well it falls apart. The juiciness. It's unbelievable. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and finish cutting this rack right here. It's just, look at that, it's just falling apart. So we'll keep cutting it through. It's a bit difficult. Spare ribs, they have the extra bones here on the end, but I want you to see what we have here. These are beyond tender, as you can tell. Look at that. Here's a whole rib that we have. It was cut together, just nice and pretty. I'm gonna show y'all just a whole rib where it shows the juice, the bark. It's actually dripping on my hand here, but it's beyond delicious. So we're gonna cut another piece here. Finish cutting this rack up like that. Now, for all of y'all that are sitting there watching, wondering how tender it is, I have my tongs here. Look at that. I'm just gonna grab a little piece. It just comes right off. Put it there in my hand. Wow. Flavor is amazing. So here's the first rack of ribs. I went ahead and split it up. I mean, the bone is just coming right out of these ribs. I did not sauce these ribs. I did not mop these ribs. Here's just a piece. See the bone nice and clean. Look at that, it's just very nice and clean. Everything came off. It's absolutely delicious. So I'm gonna take a little bite right here because I can't wait. So, wow. It is so tender. Beyond delicious. There's no sauce on these ribs. There's just a little bit of rub that I put on that you saw from the beginning. It's beyond delicious. So, again, like I started this video, easy ribs. Total cook time was about 2.5 hours. Realistically, if you're able to, put that extra hour, make it 3 hours total, and let the ribs sit in the foil without opening them up off the pit. They're gonna have that extra bit of juice. They are so good. It's beyond delicious. Look at that. Just look at it. It's great. So if y'all have any questions or suggestions. So here's the final of the ribs after I cut them. You can see they're just falling apart. I know typically when you're supposed to cook a competition style rib, you pick it up and you have that bite off the bone. These are just falling off the bone. So they really are delicious. They're perfect for anybody that wants to cook a set of spare ribs, baby back ribs, anything like that. And have something that, I mean, you could almost turn this into pulled pork if you wanted to. So if you have any questions or would like to see me cook something different, please let me know. Again, these spare ribs were just straight bought from a grocery store. I seasoned them myself and just cooked them there on a grill pit. They weren't smoked for 6 hours. They were cooked for 2.5 hours total. I just took them off the pit about 10 minutes ago. So I appreciate y'all watching. If you have any questions, please like and subscribe. I'd love for y'all to watch my future videos. And I would love to answer any questions that you have. Thank y'all for being a part of us.